Namaskar friends, hello and welcome to my program Book Corner. Generally we feel we know everything about our country, India. हम सब कुछ जानते हैं और हमसे कुछ भी छिपा नहीं है. But do you know why? Because till now no one has ever made you feel that you don't know everything about your country. But today's narration titled Hey Ram to Jai Shri Ram, 20 Dates That Changed the Course of India by senior journalist Anand Vardhan Singh will surely make you feel that. The book is a publication of Anamika Publishers and Distributors Private Limited. The price of the book is Rs 495. The book completes in 394 pages. It's a lengthy book. Friends, just as human beings grow over a lifetime, nations too grow over an aeon. India was born in the year 1947 after a hard-nosed freedom struggle. The subject book captures the salient happenings that shaped India after her independence. A famous quote that comes to my mind while reading this book is a quote by Vladimir Ilyich Lenin, the Russian leader. It says, "There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. Such is the history of all countries without fail, where India is no exception." The book details 20 such broad events that shaped India after her independence. Along with these 20 events, it also covers the peripheral episodes of that period, possibly churned by the main event or even vice versa. I'm describing these events below, but only in brief because the book is quite new. The book narration is in plain, simple English. Noticeably, the author has given the date and year of each event on the content page itself at the beginning, giving you a bird's eye view of the gaps between the two important events. The gap may range from 2 to 4 years generally, with the biggest one being 12 years. For example, after India embraced the Constitution in 1950, the next big event that shook India was the 1962 debacle, the Chinese aggression, and Nehru's death thereafter. Now, let me diegesis the title to you in brief. The book has a crisp foreword by Dr. Shashi Tharoor, who requires no introduction, followed by a prologue by Satish Jha of erstwhile Dinaman and Jansatta fame, both Hindi periodicals. Friends, India suffered a pathetic partition at the stroke of independence, the wounds of which are raw even today. The book starts post-independence with the famous tragedy in Chapter 1, the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi on 30th January 1948. It highlights his last painful utterance, "Hey Ram," which forms the first two words of the title of the book. In the second chapter, post the death of Mahatma Gandhi, India embraces the Constitution of India on 26 January 1950. Then there is a lull for more than a decade when Mother India gets into the mode of building the nation, but some neighborhoods cannot digest this. Chapter 3 takes you through the famous slogan Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai, the debacle in the Chinese aggression, and Nehru's death between 1962 and 1964. After the Chinese aggression comes the war of 1965 with Pakistan, followed by Lal Bahadur Shastri's death in Tashkent in the year 1966. And who can forget Shastri's famous slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. All this is covered in chapter 4. But the ball must keep rolling in the Indian context. So in chapter 5, the author covers India's victory over Pakistan in 1971, followed by the creation of Bangladesh, and post that the emergence of Indira Gandhi as a triumphant Durga in the Indian scenario. But one great achievement may not necessarily lead to another, for in the years to come, India landed up in the dark days of emergency where civil liberties were suspended in the year 1975 by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. The author Anand Vardhan Singh has written about this misfortune of the country in chapter 6, where he also dwells on the poem Aao Mardo Namard Bano, written by late Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Then in chapter 7, he talks about the Sampurna Kranti, the collapse of the Janta Parivar, and then an idealist JP, that is Jai Prakash Narayan, being betrayed in the year 1975. Friends, India was always a laggard in sports, but Kapil Dev and his men from the position of underdogs rose to become the world champions in one-day cricket on 25th June 1983. Indeed, it was a big milestone for such a big nation, which the author covers in chapter 8. Chapter 9 is an assortment of Operation Blue Star, which was the cause of Indira Gandhi's assassination on 30th October 1984. This was followed by an anti-Sikh riot when the famous unpopular statement of Rajiv Gandhi surfaced that said, "When a big tree falls, the earth shakes," was scripted by him. The author blames Congress for terrorism in Punjab. A point to note is that in the chapter headings, the author has clubbed several important dates and events which makes the heading and the chapter appear meaty. To cite an example, chapter 10 describes the campaign against corruption. At the same time, it also talks about Bofors claims by Rajiv Gandhi and VP Singh's rise and fall. The date of these events is 30th November 1989. It took 44 years for the Indian economy to open up in 1991, when Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister. The period also saw the famous stock market scam in 1991, engineered by Harshad Mehta. Anand covers this path-breaking step in his 11th chapter. After 45 years, the nation takes a mammoth turn in terms of opening the economy. In chapter 12, the author takes you through the Ram Kahani of India, or the Hindus. The book narrates the demolition of the Babri Masjid, leading to the rise of a new social identity in the year 1992. This has a reaction covered in the later chapters. Further, who doesn't want to become a nuclear power? Ukraine dismantled all its nuclear weapons on the advice of a superpower and faced horrific consequences. Our leaders had visualized this need for a nuclear bomb because we are surrounded by hostile neighbors such as China and Pakistan. Chapter 13 describes Pokhran 2 from codename Smiling Buddha to Operation Vijay in the year 1998. Further, the author writes about the year 2002, which is splurged with carnage and an indelible bloodbath in terms of the Godhra carnage, followed by reactionary Gujarat riots. The author extends the heading of this chapter 14 by adding, "No one killed Sohrabuddin." Sohrabuddin's case has been detailed quite well, almost like a murder mystery in this book. Chapter 15 is about Maganrega, MGNREGA, which was indeed a game changer in rural India. The chapter is also clubbed with the RTI Act, UPA's return to power in 2009, rise of rights in 2008. The advent of the Aam Aadmi Party, the arrival of Anna Hazare, and India against corruption captured the imagination of the entire country. It also brought in a new way of mohalla politics and canvassing with devoted volunteers with Gandhi cap with AAP logo. The author takes you through all this in chapter 16. Chapter 17 to 20 are topics more of the current era. They refer mostly to the BJP and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, his policies, his election-winning juggernaut, headline management, the draconian demonetization, and what it did and what India achieved net. How Narendra Modi transformed himself from Pradhan Sevak to Pradhan Senapati. It illustrates the Modi Shah unstoppable electoral juggernaut. And last but not the least, it's Jai Shri Ram, the Ram temple, and whose Ram Raj is it? Gandhi's or Modi's? These are topics of common interest between 2014 till date. Friends, now let me tell you my impression of this book. It is not a fast-moving spy thriller title, but yes, it is comprehensive in the topic that it deals with. In certain chapters, the detailing of the GOI, Government of India Acts, and release of data is overbearing, on account of which the book slows down. It appears the author has been privy to political hotspots during his career. This has enabled him to add certain information not so easily available in the public domain, and that's what makes the book interesting. The author gives the start date and day for all the events for some peculiar reason, or maybe for you to get a bird's eye view. He has criticized political parties only on merit and is not biased. The book is a bundle of assassination of prime ministers, slogans, wars, invasion and liberation, dark days of the emergency, analysis of BJP, and everything that went into the making of India post-independence. It appears the author has done a great deal of homework before embarking on this project. He has analyzed the data well. For political aficionados, it is a must read. It impacts you politically, I would say. So that's all I have for today, friends. See you soon with the next book review. Till then, goodbye.